Howdy, howdy. We are quasi live. I mean, I think we're hopefully all living, but we are kind
Oh,
of live. We are
it's a
broad
quantum superimposition live.
yeah, you got it. We're broadcasting through
Yeah.
some interdimensional chamber, so yeah, there's some crazy timey-wimey shenanigans going on, but we have a new episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds to talk about, even though we're currently celebrating Star Trek Las Vegas. We had to find a way to talk about this, so hopefully there's people chatting away in the audience that are here to listen to us break down and discuss
We
this
will
latest
probably
episode.
hopefully be there too. But
Yes. So right now I'm saying hi to myself. Hi, Vegas Fatheree. This
later
is Texas
dimensional
Fatheree
space.
saying hi.
Cheers, Joel. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to getting into this one. I got a lot to say, and I'm curious what y'all have to say about it. So without further ado, I'm Fatheree,
I'm Joel.
I'm Miss Taylor.
and this is wait. I just noticed is our little name things. Are they not
They're not on there.
Yeah, why is that? Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. I know this is what everyone wanted to see, but we wanted to give you like the
But
effect that this is live. So
there you go. Yeah, we want to cut this.
there we go. There's the display names. Hell yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about. So now, without further ado, I'm Fathery,
I'm Joel.
I'm Miss Taylor.
and this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 342nd installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. And tonight we are discussing Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 5, Through the Lens of Time, written by Dana Horgan and Catherine Lynn, and directed by Andi Armaganian. And just a little bit of a heads up. We are doing this show simultaneously with Star Trek Las Vegas going on. So the YouTube audience, we're not going to have the visual slide presentation that we normally have. And I don't know, I might not be able to spend as much time as I like editing the audio version. So apologies if it's not quite the typical Tex-Trek experience, but we still have a lot to unpack in this episode, a lot to deep dive, and I'll get into that in just a quick moment. Just a bit of housekeeping first. Per usual, I need to give a huge thank you and shout out to the wonderful Tex-Trek Patreon supporters. So thank you so very much, Starfleet, Sohel, Cake is a Turtle, Crazy Dutchie, Joanne Robertson, John Dog, Geek Filter, Quark Spar, Matthew Everett, Braxton, Chuck A, Joel Vallis, Arthur Lamaru, our associate producer Chris Garris, Dave Farabee, Dave A. Gregory, and our anonymous supporters. I hope that that currently, whenever this is premiered, I'm actually hanging out with some of y'all in Vegas at STLV. So, but just a reminder to everyone who's not able to participate at the fun Vegas shenanigans going on at the convention. We do have a Patreon watch party every month with our patrons, and this month we're doing it August 16th, 3:30 p.m., and it's going to be Vegas casino themed. We're watching a double feature with the patrons. We're going to do TNG's The Royale and DS9's Bada Bing Bada Boom. So both episodes involve casinos. STLV is at a casino. That's all on theme, right?
There's
That's all.
gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. but that's going to be a lot of fun. So always a fun group who shows up to those watch parties. That's open to all the patrons. You can come in as little as $2 a month to attend, and if you can afford to be more generous, there are some additional perks, so please check out the Tex-Trek Patreon. If you can help at the bridge crew level or higher, we'll throw an additional watch party for your birthday. So anyone currently supporting on those levels, if you have a September birthday, let me know and we'll schedule something. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and dive in through the lens of time. It's like we're going on a archaeological medicine excursion.
That's
expedition.
Right.
What would you call
dig.
it? Yeah, a dig. Yeah, I don't actually have a synopsis from Paramount or from Memory Alpha or anywhere yet because we are having to record this earlier than usual. So Joel has prepared a kind of a mock synopsis that he'd like to read for us, just to recap this episode for everyone, and then I might expand on that with some spoilers. But Joel, give us the Joel synopsis for Through the Lens of Time.
So yeah, Through the Lens of Time. Corby and the Enterprise crew investigate a mysterious anomaly on a planet, leading to the discovery of vast ruins. Ensign Gamble is injured exploring the ruins and rushed back to the ship. The landing party becomes trapped and must figure a way out, while Gamble and the ship's crew deal with his injuries and what he has become.
So, yeah, that's a really good synopsis. So, I liked that. But, yeah, Gamble becomes possessed by some evil that was imprisoned on this planet that is now awakened and seems to be stirring some weird Gorn feelings in Batel.
Yes.
And also results in the death of Gamble, but luckily everyone else makes it back to the ship, and we end with the ominous cliffhanger. I guess not cliffhanger, but that tease at the end showing that
the seed is planted for.
Yeah, the seed is planted within the Enterprise herself. That the Vesda is what they call this life form. The Vesda is perhaps now infecting the ship. So. Joel, I feel like I normally ask you for the first opening statement, but I don't know. Is that easier or harder to go first?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, then let's just stick with tradition. Unless Taylor, if you're just bursting to give the first opening statement. But okay, before we go into our episode breakdown, as usual, we'll each just give our broad impressions on the episode. Starting with Joel, tell us your opening statement on Through the Lens of Time.
Yeah, I really like this one. It goes out not quite the usual Trekkiness for bad monsters or creatures. It's very cosmic horror, Lovecraftian, which ties back to something else I'll mention later. And then we have it starts with a wonderful, log from Ensign Gamble. That can't go wrong. Our favorite new, yeah, that's sad, but he gets a nice episode. That's good. And so overall, yeah, there's a bunch of traps. They figure them out, and Ensign Gamble goes full Event Horizon. So, yeah. It's sad, but it was good. So, what are your thoughts, Miss Taylor?
I feel like this one was, I don't want to say it's a little boring, but I think the first time I watched it, I was having a hard time staying focused, especially in the archaeological part. I thought the Gamble story arc was a little bit more interesting, and I liked having the creepy horror, I don't know, there's the little tidbits of acting, whenever Gamble kind of sits up whenever he's sitting behind M'Benga, and that's kind of creepy. And when Batel kind of has the weird neck crick, and there's a little bit of that I really liked. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot in this episode I also was extremely cringy about. Of course, they're gonna keep shaking these romantic, awkward conversations. They just love to throw these things in there, and I really hate to see them. So there's a few really awkward exchanges in this episode that just makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. So I don't know. I think this episode was just okay.
Well, for me, this I had not my favorite Strange New Worlds experience with last week's episode, and the more I spent thinking about and chewing on that episode, the less I like it. And I'm very happy that this week I'm having the opposite experience. The more I've thought about this episode, the more I see in it that I do like. It kept, unlike Taylor, who said it was, boring to her, but which is fine. Just my experience, for me, it was pretty engaging the entire time. I was unsure what was going to happen next, so it kind of kept me on my toes. And I have a fondness for like the Lovecraftian cosmic horror stuff that this episode does lean into. It's not something that Star Trek does a lot, but it's something that Trek has dabbled with multiple times before. So there's a few little nitpicky things in here that kind of stood out to me. Like, I'm not sure if the dimension bending rules really make sense, or if they're clear. I think it's kind of important for those rules to be kind of obvious and consistent. So I'm not sure if they did that, but it doesn't really bother me. They made some neat things happen with it. The Spock-La'an romance, though, I do have to say it does not add to the show. It does not add to Spock. It's weird to me to have like a Spock this romantically active. It's just I'm fine. I actually really enjoyed like the Spock Chapel stuff and the Spock to Pring stuff, but I didn't need to see like Spock rebound with like, oh look, my attractive coworker and I are just going to, I guess, be friends with benefits for a little bit. It's like that doesn't like jive with the Spock I've been seeing for the last 6 decades. Just seems a little forced. So that's weird, but I liked, unlike Taylor, I kind of like some of the Lawn Chapel drama, mainly because like the way when they come together at the end. I love that moment when they hold hands going across the bridge, and
that's good.
So I do like this episode. However, I feel like I have to reserve a little bit of judgment just because I have a history of really struggling with the Strange New Worlds Gorn. I've never really liked the Gorn episodes other than the first one, Memento Mori, which is not really a Gorn episode. It's just more of like a ship battle episode. Yeah. So this clearly ties into the Gorn stuff, and there's going to be more with all of that down the road. So I'm a little on edge and worried that I won't like the reveal of what they're doing with this new Vesda threat that they've introduced in this episode. I like a lot of the ideas they added in this episode. So just for what was in the context of this 40-50 minute story, I liked the use of everything they were doing. But we can go ahead and go into our episode breakdown. Again, apologies to the YouTube audience. I don't have slides to put on the screen, but we'll try to be extra colorful with our descriptions. That's what the podcast people get all the time. So. But yeah, the episode opens with Ensign Gamble giving the log entry for what at some point he is going to assume, oh, this is the best day of my life. I'm going to get to go on an away mission on the Enterprise. But he's talking about he's been on the ship for 6 months. He loves serving on the Enterprise. And there's also an away mission being prepped. Corby is back on board. He and Chapel are taking a team down to the same planet they'd been to before, right? Vadia 9?
I believe so. But
yeah, I mean, they mentioned that it is Vadia 9 here, so this is the same planet that had like Mount Caleb, where Corby took her up
the
above
sun and the moon and the stars.
Yeah. We don't see that. We just see like the same Toronto rock quarry that they've been shooting since
the very Doctor Who wonky quarry.
Discovery in 2017 started using that, and Star Trek is still using it. But yeah, it's an interesting expedition. They think they might have found some ancient technology that, Gamble's excited about talking to M'Benga about like the possibilities of immortality from molecular memory and corporeal transference.
That always goes well. Yeah.
But I kind of like
lots of irony there.
Yeah. I kind of like a stern, kind of hard ass Mbenga, but not really. He's actually kind of a soft commanding officer, but he kind of puts on like a front when he's
Yeah.
bossing Gamble around, telling him to charge all the dermal wands on the bio beds and stuff like that. Before we learn that he's actually, finally, I guess, signed the permission slip for the ensign to go on an away mission. But we also have Corby and Chapel talking about the dig and they're having that walk and talk in the corridor, and Corby's talking about how he's always nervous before a dig, and there's some tension there. He doesn't really like Starfleet, but this was the only way to get underground. They needed a Starfleet ship to do this.
And yeah, they used the ship a lot. I was kind of taken aback almost by.
I'm not sure
deflector
exactly.
beams, because they look like phasers, but they say deflector.
Yeah,
which
they
makes
make
sense. They're not phasers, but I don't know what it is. But
they make the deflector beam bounce off of those things to expose all of it.
But with two beams, not one. Like, I don't know. But
and we know at some point they're going to do more of that in the season too, because there are like some shots of like beams going into temples and stuff. Like I remember from the trailer that it doesn't come up here, so it's going to come up again.
Yeah.
But with Corby,
the beams were pretty interesting because they kind of come down in that V, but then they deflect and they form a delta. I don't know if you'll know.
But we did that anomaly, and then
but like whenever all of the beams are working, it forms the Starfleet logo. This is kind of funny.
The ancients knew.
Let's talk about the stuff before they arrive on the dig site, like with the Corby Chapel conversation. One of the interesting things that comes up in there is Corby says sometimes people used to giving orders struggle with following them. What he's kind of being critical of, like, maybe like Pike and these Starfleet brass, but that actually becomes him by the end of the episode, the guy who's struggling with following someone else's orders.
Yeah, he definitely does, quite quickly, in fact. He's fine with his girlfriend's orders, but and everyone else is like, really?
But speaking of his girlfriend, we also get Chapel having that first chat with La'an. When La'an's like, please don't be one of those women. Please don't make it weird.
Yeah, that was so
she does not want to talk about it at all. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it at all. Jeez. It's so awkward. Like, I hate that line because I feel like it's so like anti-women supporting women. Really, don't be one of those women, like shaming her for how she feels or whatever, or wanting to talk. But
I think is just so not used to this that she doesn't mean to shame, but she's just out of her depth.
Yeah, it's just such an awkward conversation too, because what ends up happening is Chapel is like asking how Spock feels, but then La'an ends up telling her like about their relationship. Like she's like Chapel technically doesn't ask. She doesn't say like what's going on between you two. That never comes up. She only asks like, is Spock upset that Corby's on board? Like La'an is like, yes, we're having sex. Like I'm like, oh my god, La'an, like she didn't ask that at all. Like it was so awkward. And I was like, why do they have to have this conversation about like Spock like this? Like it's just so weird.
And it's so funny too, because she says we're doing no labels, we're just having fun, and then like as if Spock hasn't classified a single aspect.
Yeah, that just
everything to like an exactitude, and if it doesn't work, he'll look up what it should be. And
yeah.
I know that the show loves to sexualize Spock, which, I mean, there's a long-standing Star Trek tradition of that, but, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's like Spock bait. It's just like, hey, Star Trek fandom, we know a lot of you are thirsty for Spock, so we're just gonna, like, shove a lot of Spock romance in your face.
Wouldn't you like no labels Spock fun? Many would, but I'm not sure if La'an is really getting no labels, or if she's not labeling it and Spock is keeping the labels to himself.
Oh, but speaking of Spock, I was going to mention this. There's a line from Gamble. I should say, by the way, we're going to skip the Gorn egg section at the end of the show. But one thing that I think would have been a fun Gornegg to include in there is when Gamble is treating Battelle in sickbay, and he says the word Spock's brain. He says, with Spock's brain and Benga's research and Chapel's genetic expertise, to Battelle talking about her treatment. So that was kind of fun.
It stood out. Yeah, that was fun.
But it's because the writers were thinking about Spock's brain, because in last week's episode they mention stolen brain cells. So,
which they need for various science reasons.
Various science reasons indeed. But that's something that I notice all the time in modern Star Trek. The writers will go back and they'll watch an episode of Legacy Star Trek, and then within like the next week or two,
like
they'll mention something else from the same episodes. Like, man, I can tell that was fresh on your mind. I can tell you were thinking about Spock's brain recently. But yeah, anything else y'all want to mention before the briefing, the away mission briefing?
Yeah, Spock and Chapel are in the elevator, and that also was unnecessary.
Oh yeah,
tension.
the awkward elevator scene.
It's like Chapel would be my worst nightmare coworker, because it's like if I saw her coming, I would be like, I don't want the gossip. Like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk about all this stuff. Like, let's just do our work. And like, I'm sure that's exactly how Spock and La'an are. Like, I know that they're dedicated to their jobs, and I'm sure they see Chapel coming and they're like, fuck, like, I don't want to have to talk about things.
Chapel's like, I got to make sure the boyfriend and the ex-boyfriend, they're all doing good.
Yeah,
she's
harm.
Like, they love them both, you know.
She's like trying so hard. It's like, man, if you would just like relax, like things will just like fall into place naturally. But she like wants to put her hands and everything, and that irritates me.
And then the doors open and Gamble comes in, and it's even more awkward.
Yeah, I felt like that was unnecessary too. I was just, man,
it was
like
funny.
I feel bad for Gamble.
that was funny though.
Funny.
He's all excited. He's like, oh look, I can walk in the meeting with some crewmates. But I just realized what happened. But again, the show has consistently showed us, like, look how nice the sweetheart Gamble is. It's like the nicest guy in the world. I was never too attached to him. Was like, this guy is too nice. They're doing too much, showing how much everyone loves this guy. They're clearly either going to kill him or they're going to reveal that he's actually a bad guy. They kind of do both of those things in this episode.
Kind of funny.
So, but I kept waiting for one or the other. So I was braced. But that that awkward turbo lift scene, Taylor, that also parallels the episode Charades in season 2. They have an awkward turbo lift ride in that episode, I believe. So,
and those old scientists were.
Oh yeah. A lot of awkward things happen in the turbo lift. Yeah.
In Star Trek, the serious stuff does happen in the turbo lift.
That is.
There wasn't a halt turbo lift moment like TNG would do, but because when you're talking so serious, you can't let anyone on.
Yeah.
You gotta halt it.
But Spock mentions there that he has safeguards in place. He uses the term safeguards to make sure that everything goes...
ominous, really.
Everything's going to go smoothly with this Corby mission. Chapel's so worried about her ex and her current BF getting along. In the briefing, Spock reveals the safeguards like, oh, I'm going to stay on the ship and monitor the deflector from there, even though he's in command of this science mission. I don't know. I was pretty sure Galileo 7 was supposed to be the first time Spock commanded an away mission, so that's a little fishy. But I guess since he wasn't supposed to leave the ship, I guess maybe.
That was a shuttle mission. There's no...
Yeah, it was a different command thing.
And ones in quarries don't count, so...
But hey, we get Beto Ortega's back in this episode.
We do.
He's in the briefing. Much to Captain Pike's annoyance when he's recording everything.
Yeah, I thought that was like a little weird. I don't like that they're treating him a little bit like as a nuisance. Like, he's on board to film this documentary that their superiors agreed to or whatever, and I feel like they kind of disregard him a little bit. Even when they're on the planet, like Uhura has a line that's like, oh, we don't just play with our little toys. Well, she's like literally playing with some little gadget. So it's like, they undermine him a little bit, and I don't like that, and especially from Captain Pike and Una. I thought that was like extremely unnecessary.
Well, Pike gets he gets annoyed sometimes. Like when Boimler and Mariner were on the Enterprise, they bugged the shit out of him. He got really annoyed with Scotty in the holodeck in last week's episode, so I thought it was in character. I thought it was in character. I just want to point out, the little light bulb turned on in my head watching the recap for this episode, and they recapped Beto saying like, hey, Starfleet is going to commission a documentary all about Starfleet. And I was thinking like, oh, I bet episode 7 of the season, which is called What is Starfleet? It's like, framed as a question.
Oh, yeah.
I think episode 7 is just going to be like a
hour-long
documentary on Starfleet that like directed by Beto Ortega's
Shades of What is Starfleet Gray? Yeah.
It's going to be like The Office or like Parks and Rec, where it's like a mockumentary.
Yes, yeah,
episode.
people will talk to the camera. Yeah, it'll be kind of like
Talia keeps jumping in.
Oh my god! I'm looking
oh
forward to that.
yeah.
I would love it.
Because I think that's actually like a cool detail too. It's like Palia, like, oh, she really loves the camera.
Yeah, that's
so
adorable
funny,
detail.
Yeah, Carol Kane really like lights up her face for. I mean, like she's been like an actor for decades, so like she knows how to turn it on. But yeah, like I love that smile she gives for the camera in the briefing room, and she Taylor like stands up for Beto when Pike is trying to shut down the documentary stuff.
Read the mission statement.
Yeah,
that was really power move.
Yeah, I love that she like orders Beto to do something, and Beto like looks over at Pike like, I know you're the captain, so like Pike kind of has to like give him like a nod or something before he continues. But you wouldn't have been able to get away with that with some of the like. Imagine if someone pulled that on Cisco or on Picard, that wouldn't go over well. But Pike he's the gentler captain, so which is okay. I'm not saying that as a criticism, just an observation.
And also, it's hard to argue with the Lanthanite.
Yeah,
she's like way more.
They've been there.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I guess let's talk about the dig then. They arrive on the planet and they meet this alien dude named Najal. He's the member of the species called the Macroon, I think. The Macroon or the Macroon, yeah. Najal of the Macroon. They have a limited vocal range, which I guess explains why this guy doesn't talk much, and when he does, most of the time it's in another language, but one time it's translated through the universal translator, I guess.
Yeah. Or he knew that part in English. It was unclear, but
he knows how to say like the big dramatic lines, like "My ancestors used to make blood sacrifices to the deities of time." That's like the only English phrase he's learned.
Priorities.
It's a good one. Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, Taylor, when we were watching this, you pointed out it's a little hypocritical of Chapel. She's being very flirty with her boyfriend, and then when she sees Uhura and Beto talking, she's like, "Hey, y'all done setting up? Like, we got a mission to do, so."
Yeah, she interrupted their cute little moment. I thought that was unnecessary.
They're giving each other shit. They know what they're doing.
Oh, and I also want to point out, okay, this is Vadia 9. This is the planet that Chapel was working with Corby on previously. In Wedding Bell Blues, we do get that line from Trelane that like, oh, I saw this handsome bastard digging around on the home world, or whatever he says. It's like, was that this planet, or was that another planet Corby had recently?
Which means, could they have set all this up? That stuff they find?
I don't know if they're doing that. I don't know if this is going to tie into
I don't think they'll
stuff,
address it, but it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
It just, to me, it seems weird for this to be the Q homeworld, but it's also now inhabited by these Macroon aliens. I don't know. They seem more. They're like more pedestrian. They're more like normal, down to earth Star Trek aliens than like godlike Q. Even if their ancestors might have been into some weird stuff, but
I assume the Q like uplifted or whatever you call it themselves like 1 billion years ago. So yeah, it could be the same world, different. Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
But modern,
or it could
Star
be in the
Trek...
future. The Q could have done it in the future because they don't really matter once they become Q. They can go wherever they want.
Yeah, they might have like not even existed on this home world yet,
or been humans. I mean, that's kind of hinted at, but not really. they're like humans, Q says to Picard, but they used to be at least. But yeah, they never really get into that.
And when they expose this ancient structure, at first they assume that it's either a temple or a palace, but something kind of like grand and much more positive than it turns out to be like a prison.
That was hidden. Yeah.
But I mentioned the sacrifice thing. That's important because to gain entry into the prison, I guess is what it is. But Chapel has to do like the blood prick thing. It's not really much of a sacrifice. It does like one little drop of blood goes a long way with this prison, I guess.
Yeah. I do love Corby's trying to rush up there with like a knife. He's all set to do the movie thing and cut his hand. But
don't be so dramatic. That was the Irish coming out of him. There's like kind of I got
blood. Yep.
Irish melodrama.
Yeah, we do get the.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying we get the obvious Jaws line where Chapel, after the reveal of the temple, or what they think is a temple at that point, says, "Captain, we're gonna need a bigger landing party."
Yeah. I think it's funny that they sent Spock and La'an down to really round out like the awkward couples. So
yeah,
it's like, oh, we have
too many
Corby
people.
and
They
Chapel.
only allow awkward couples.
Yeah, Beto and Uhura, which I think of the three couples is the least awkward. So
if you're not an awkward couple, you either have a grenade go off in your face or you get, lasered away. So
you get burnt in some way. Yeah.
I wonder if at one point in the writers' room, if they ever toyed with having Batel and Pike. Obviously they wanted like Batel and Gamble to be on the ship at the same time, but I wondered if they had ever considered like having like the two of them go through this as well. But yeah, there are a lot of pairing offs happening in Strange New Worlds, which it does seem to be a little unnecessary. I definitely I'm starting to get like that criticism the more and more the show is doing that. You'd think like if any show would do that, it would be Voyager, where these people are like, well, we might be stuck together the rest of our lives. Let's get in a relationship. But
the Delaney twins never do, but for long.
Oh, the other thing is when Chapel gets the blood prick thing, Nurse Gamble is like so concerned. He's like immediately like scanning her for infections and stuff.
He's like, I'm going to be on my A game for my first away mission.
No
one's getting...
The last time he's like ever nursing over a patient or anything, I guess. Sad to think about.
So sad. I think it's kind of sad. Like Chapel says, "I'll live, Ensign," and then in the back of my mind, but you're not gonna live. Like, it's a gamble. Like there's like a lot of quiet, like opposite lines that as they say something to Gamble, it's kind of ironic.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that in this episode with him.
I mean, like it starts off, when M'Benga is like, "Okay, you're finally gonna get to go on an away mission." Like he's so
like, this
is
the best day of my life, and I'm like, this is the last day of your life.
I'm so proud of my son. Great things happen to all my kids. So yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about what happens when they go into the structure. They realize they can't beam out, and they can't communicate with the ship.
Yep.
And things start to get dark when Gamble discovers the dead bodies on the floor. There's a fun line from Lon. Well, they're not immortal, because that was the thing. Is like they thought this was like a place where some ancient aliens who. Oh, we should also mention they had found artifacts from different planets that
really far away.
Yeah,
hundreds of light years. Corby has the little ring thing, and then the little plaque thing.
Tablet. Yeah.
It all seems tied into the same culture that built this structure, like the same written language, same style of architecture, I guess. They make the conclusion that they believe that these ancient alien astronauts could also travel between galaxies, which maybe that's something that will be revealed later, but I don't. That seems like a leap,
or maybe there's evidence they didn't share because it didn't make sense.
True. That Corby might know something we don't.
Really optimistic scientists.
It says they love other galaxies right here, so I don't know. But yeah, but they do have artifacts spread over hundreds of light years. So I mean, this galaxy, yeah, they're all over. But
Yeah, I liked that line. Well, they're not immortal, but these were, I guess they conclude grave robbers that had been. We don't know how long those dead bodies had been in here either, but
I think they say a couple hundred years. They scan them.
And then there's a little bit of tension in the landing party when Spock, seeing the dead bodies, he's like, well, we need to go back outside and alert the ship. And it's actually Chapel, his ex, convinces him to proceed. And the way she does
Corby's like, no.
Yeah, she's doing it like Chapel is like advocating for Corby, but the way that she kind of manipulates Spock is by saying like, well, this alien guy, Najal, it's really important to him to explore this underground
through
structure.
Diplomacy. She manipulates.
Yeah. This like happens, I think, twice in this episode where there's like opportunity to turn back or slow down and they don't. And I find that so hard to relate to. Like, I'm more of like a Spock and La'an, like, let's be conservative and like get our ducks in a row and come back to this. Like, it's still going to be here.
You can come back. Yeah.
That's what pisses me off so much about Corby and Chapel in this is that they're like, oh, they're just so excited and they want to go, and they want to stay. But it's like, damn, like it would only take a few minutes to like reformulate a plan. And it's not like we're saying you can't come back in. We're just saying like, let's reevaluate, And I that happens a couple times in this episode. And it's hard to feel like they're making a good choice.
Yeah, I think the justification for that could be, maybe the episode should have explained this more, but it could be because the aliens, the Macroon, they really don't seem to like outsiders. These are
or the
like,
Federation, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are sacred relics to them, so it's very limited who can come in, how much time people can spend there. They might have been worried that like, if they didn't get a lot done today, they don't know when they would get another shot, but they probably should have articulated that a little better. Yeah, it's kind of like the writers just assuming the audience is going to be down to go along on the dangerous mission and not really thinking about it too logically.
Corby kind of comes off as, I need immortality now. And, and he's like, I must find this. And it's just like, hold on there. You're not that old.
He is overzealous when it comes to finding ancient alien technology that might unlock the secrets of immortality.
Yes.
I guess if you are going to obsess about some scientific discovery, that's a pretty big one to be obsessed with. But
never goes well in literature if you're obsessed with that, though. It really doesn't.
But yeah, then Gamble finds one of the shiny orb things. I guess this is one of the things that the grave robbers robbed.
Yeah, they had a backpack or something.
Yeah, or maybe like later we see one of those orb things float up to Spock. Maybe one of them floated up to one of these guys and they grabbed it and put it in their bag or whatever. But this thing literally explodes in Gamble's face. And the episode gets really dark, really fast. It gets
instant
really
body horror.
Yeah,
gross. Yeah.
Star Trek hates eyes. Hates them. Yeah, instantly reminded me of Event Horizon because that's basically a Lovecraftian cosmic horror movie where bad things happen to lots of people's eyes. They're always bleeding or not there.
I need to rewatch that at some point soon. I always liked the kind of like sci-fi horror fusion that they figured out for that for that movie. But
it's basically what if warp drive took you to hell when you were at warp and. Spoilers, it's bad. Yeah.
There's some disturbing images in that movie. But so okay, they establish in the rules of this episode that you cannot beam back to the ship from inside of the structure. But at this point they can still go out the front door, or at least Chapel can, because it scanned her blood. So
that's it.
Yeah, she's the key. So her and Lon take injured Gamble outside, get him beamed up to the ship so Mbenga can bioengineer new eyes for him. And while they're doing that. At some point, I guess like Beto and Corby were like, we want to keep exploring. Beto like sends the camera into the next chamber. But yeah, they like Pike has ordered, okay, everyone beam up. This sounds dangerous. There's shit exploding in people's faces. But Beto's camera sees what we'll eventually learn is called the Beholder, but like this weird statue. They're like, oh, look at the image of this weird statue. He's looking at the next chamber or what they think is going to be the next chamber from their perception. Turns out, like, I don't know, as big as the structure looks, it's like they never leave like this one little room. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks as big as the inside of a Borg cube, really, because you see giant rows of just endlessness. Not up, because there's a limit, because you see where the ground is, but like left, right, and forward, you can see it's huge, and presumably down, you see a little bit.
Another thing that happens in this general time is they send the fragments of the orb that destroyed Gamble's eyes to Pelia for analysis. Mm-hmm. And that comes up later whenever Scotty uses it. But I think that was cool that they're like, okay, we're going to figure out everything we can about this one thing. And they sent that little container thing to Pelia.
Yeah, they're kind of getting forensic-y.
Yeah.
With that. We hear like the word Vesda for the first time here, I guess. When Najal sees the camera footage of the statue, he starts freaking out and saying things, and I guess one of the things he says is the word Vesda, which translates not to danger, but more accurately to evil. And it's so scary to him that he goes running like a madman. This guy who's like very like calm and mysterious.
Yeah, he books it.
But yeah, he's like, I am gonna GTFO and get the fuck out of here. And he runs for the door. And I guess if they had only lined up calmly, single file in that same formation behind Chapel in the front, and they walked out that way, they would have been fine. This would have been a short episode. But instead, this guy gets red-shirted, and the building goes on lockdown mode, and the front door is locked, and they're like, well, I guess we're going to starve like these grave robbers did.
But poor Najal vaporized. We hardly knew ye.
The geography is like a little confusing, but I guess it's supposed to be confusing.
Yeah,
but like,
I believe it is.
When they walk through like the door to go in the next chamber, but then like
they actually end up where they were,
right?
Just in different quantum suppositions or something.
Yeah, and they're paired off in groups of two because I guess they did kind of like they already knew to kind of like line up behind Chapel.
Let Chapel go
the key
first.
To everything. Yeah. So yeah, Chapel and they're like not in single file and like double file, I guess, but it's like
they're coupled up.
Yeah, Chapel and La'an end up.
It's also real convenient that they're coupled up with a relic. Like each of them has their own relic. Like if that didn't happen, I don't think they could have merged back together. But like Uhura has the ring and Corby has the tablet, and I think Chapel is the blood.
If one group had them all, it still would have worked.
Oh yeah, maybe it never would have split them up.
But it didn't really say. I could be wrong. It didn't really say.
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't have split them up.
Just having them and placing them might have worked. But I also do love the sound design. The whole episode is great. It makes it really seem like a giant space, the echoing of everything that happens. But after that goes into lockdown, Chapel goes up to the door and keeps sticking her hand into the like chamber, and it makes this sort of video game like no sound, like and I just thought that was hilarious. That this giant place has this little sound effect that says, "No, you can't open that door," just so you know that it read your DNA. I love that.
But who is all paired off? We have Chapel and Lon together, Uhura and Beto together, and then Corby and Spock.
Yeah.
So,
only one of the couples is paired, Uhura and Beto. But...
And Chapel...
Or is Corby and Spock the real couple that should have... But...
Yeah.
I mean, they had, I'm sure some
labels
people...
for those two. But...
We saw them in bed together in Wedding Bell Blues. I'm sure, like, there's already shippers have
There's
gone
already
to
been
town
domestic
on
abuse.
some
Spock
fan
punched
fiction.
Yeah. Terrible. Spock.
But Chapel and Lon are in the room with the statue that has it has a biosignature, but it doesn't. It's both alive and not alive on scans because the quantum particles are in a weird flux.
Yeah, I thought this actually was really funny when Chapel scans it and she's like, "Oh, it has a biosignature," and La'an whips out her phaser so quick and it's like, "Not for long! Like I'm gonna kill this thing if it so much as moves." But I also wanted to point out that the shape of this sculpture or structure, what did you call it? A statue.
I think statue.
It reminds me a lot of the Nike Victory from ancient Greek. So it has like kind of a similar movement.
It's kind of ghost-like too. Like
yeah. It's a little creepy, but yeah, it reminded me a lot of that Nike Victory piece.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like the Nike like check mark, like the swoosh.
Well, Nike
Not
is named after Nike Victory.
Right. But the swoosh is not the thing you're talking about, right?
No, I'm not talking about the swoosh.
Yeah.
There's a statue that's basically like, well, it's a headless figure and has like really large wings, but the drapery on the dress that it's wearing is like super flowy, and it kind of like looks like that same shape on the beholder.
Yeah, it looks like it's like a life form, maybe like frozen in stasis. It has like ice on it, so
yeah, the little icy kind of things coming out.
I want to see this thing like wake up and like like move around and like I don't could it like fight these Vesda creatures or something? Like it looks like a neat creature. I'd like to
that would be cool.
Yeah, maybe
it's a prison guard. It's got its
because it is called a sentry, right? They call it the Sentry of Eternal Bridges.
Yeah, which makes more sense after we see the bridge stuff later and learn about like the different what do you call it? Like different dimensional planes that they exist on. But yeah, the Beholder I think might come back at some point because I think they're gonna do this like Vizda storyline at the end of the season, and it'll like I think that's how they're gonna get rid of Batel, like whatever she goes off to do. But I'm curious how it's gonna relate to the Gorn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's early, but we do get a little Gorn thing in here too. That's not Batel related.
How did y'all feel about there being like the Earth writing, the Chinese writing in the statue room?
Very Star Trek.
Is it like Star Trek? Gene Roddenberry wanted to stay away from like ancient aliens involved in like Earth's past, but I know it does. Except come up
when
from time to time.
They did, it wasn't his story ideas really, but
like Kukulkan, and then like even like
Khan.
Speaking of Greek stuff, like the Greek pantheon, like Apollo.
Yep.
It's funny. Like there's going to be
no pantheon. Sorry, cut that
out. I will for the podcast, but not for YouTube. They're getting the live experience, y'all. Even though we're not really live.
Yeah, no, you were right.
Hi, Vegas. Yep.
But,
Parthenon is the Greek one. Pantheon is the Roman one. So if you're talking about the Greek stuff, you have to say Parthenon.
Well, any collection of mythological gods that exist in the same mythology can be called a pantheon. Yeah.
It's just a gang.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the structure. Sorry.
No. But I was just wanted. This is actually like a big tangent. It doesn't have anything to do with this episode at all. I already spent too much time talking about it. But in Starfleet Academy, we're going to have that Academy ship, the USS Athena.
Yep.
And Athena actually exists canonically in the Star Trek universe. Apollo mentions Athena and Who Mourns for Adonais. So,
cool.
I guess that was.
Pelia might have known her.
Yeah. But the Chinese writing that's interesting to have La'an know how to read Chinese because Christina Chong has Chinese ancestry. So. But in the Corby Spock version of this room, they're stuck with the dead grave robbers. So there's a fun conversation there where Corby talks about science someday being able to grant immortality. He's like asking like Spock, like do you not like believe that we could actually figure this out? And Spock is saying like, well, I think that you don't take proper precautions, and there's some strong "what are little girls made of" foreshadowing here.
Yes,
and
very much so.
Joel, you mentioned that this episode and that episode both have some cosmic horror ties.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Because What Are Little Girls Made Of was written by Robert Bloch, who's famously the author of Psycho, of course, the book that became a movie. But he also, previous to that, was a correspondent with H.P. Lovecraft. He was younger than most of those guys who are doing that. But he was writing Lovecraft before he died in, 41 or 39 or something. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I don't think he wrote some adjacent Cthulhu Mythos things, because the whole thing was sort of like all the people they were just writing each other constantly, and then they would all write sort of stories using all the Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep and all these, gods and old ones and stuff. And so he was sort of involved with that. And he even includes the names, he calls the people who invented the androids old ones in that episode, which I don't think he's quite meaning to be the same thing as old ones in like the Lovecraft stuff, meaning they were like, just sort of not quite the gods, but they were these sort of layers, like great old ones, like Cthulhu, I think, is a great old one, and then it was a whole layer hierarchy.
But it sounds cool,
but he's using the vocab. He's using that vocabulary, and he was one of the people doing that. So there's direct links to cosmic horror to the the center of it, which is the pulp magazines. That Lovecraft was probably the most famous, but there was tons of other people doing it, and then.
Yeah, and I guess like if you're listening to this, if you're unfamiliar with that genre with cosmic horror, it's like like a horror that deals with ancient, old, mysterious forces that that could be like possibly like universe destroying. It's like something like you're scared of something that exists on like such a grand scale. You can't even like wrap your head around it.
Yeah, it's the best thing for the people in these stories is if these forces do not notice humanity. There's really no hope other than not being noticed. That's sort of like cosmic horror boiled down to just a line.
It's kind of an interesting classic tell of like, these ancient aliens, with their hubris, they're like, we've unlocked the secrets of immortality using this transdimensional stuff that I'm not really quite sure. This is what I was saying. Like some of the rules aren't real clear to me, but I guess like you can use shifting through dimensions to somehow make yourself live forever.
But we don't know that's what they were doing. That's what Corby thinks they're doing.
Right.
This could have been invented to be the prison. All this tech could be just to imprison these entities.
Well, something they were they had the ability to travel between different dimensional planes or something, because that's when they were getting these either parasites or hitchhikers based on the translate. I think like a better word to combine those just be like stowaway. Like why not just say like stowaway? I guess that's not as scary as parasite.
That's also very Lovecraft. There's I don't remember the name of the short story, but there's a famous movie called From Beyond starring Star Trek's Jeffrey Combs, previous to Deep Space Nine in the 80s. Where they invent some thing that puts out a field, and then they start seeing into another dimension, and then there's all these like sort of weird fish things that kind of notice them, but then eventually intelligent things notice them, and things start going really bad. And it sort of fits with that too very well.
And then one of the things that Corby translates on his tablet thing that he's carrying around is it has the word Vesda, but like the plural of it. So it's like the plural of evil, and you have like either like the parasite or hitchhiker, and then it's like well or pit. So it's like the evil parasite pit. But Spock looks through it with like the grave robber's visor, and he sees one of the orbs like blew up in Gamble's face float up to him. But when he takes the visor off, it's not really there. So that thing must have enabled him to be able to look into one of these other dimensional
planes. And he has
planes.
a vision.
Yes.
Or he really sees, I don't know if it's vision or really sees something. That's it looks like the Gorn vision when he mind melded with Patel.
Right.
2 episodes ago in
Yes.
Shuttle to Kinfori. So
I don't know if that was real or just a vision, and maybe it doesn't matter because maybe there's psychic power. I don't know.
but
They
it
don't
was
really
like
say
the
it, but-
same. It was like the same
but-
CGI monster face with
Yeah.
all the teeth.
I felt like
Instead
it
of
was
instead
more
of a clip,
like,
you get instead of a screen grab, you get me doing this. So.
yeah, I felt
Very
like
similar.
once, like later when we see, Batel is affected, but like I think that's what Spock is getting. Because he melded with Batel, so he has kind of like that
Yeah.
memory of the Gorn, and I think when he sees it, he gets the jump scare, and I think the Gorn baby thing is like, I think it's a vision. I don't think it's actually in that orb. I think it's something else in that orb. But I think like his Gorn memories from Batel.
Oh, it's like
triggered.
he has some lingering Gornness, and it's
Right.
like it's like
And
it's like his
scary,
inner Gorn
whatever
is
that
like
thing is.
yeah.
It's
The
scary,
Gorn has
whatever.
something
That's-
else going on that Patel and
Mm.
Spock have tapped into, and
Yeah.
perhaps the Gorn have tapped into, but isn't exactly
Okay.
the
And
gear
that's
Gorn.
what actually made me headcanon that I don't think this is possible, but I thought for a second this prison was made by the Gorn, like to contain their enemy from a long, long, long time ago. And that the Gorn were like once super duper high tech and crazy awesome. And this is their nemesis species that they've contained.
Yeah,
It could be.
They definitely have some like some connection to this. That yeah, maybe it's just the
It's giving
It
like
actually- yeah.
vampires versus werewolves in Twilight. Like
And
they're
I think I mentioned on one of the previous Gorn episodes, the Gorn were kind of cosmic horror because when the stars are right, the Gorn rise up and expand. And when the stars are wrong, they sleep just like Cthulhu under the sea. So that ties back into that. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but yeah, it works.
I remember you saying that. I was actually going to try to bring that up as we were
Yeah.
talking about this episode. I want to talk about the stuff going on back on the ship in just a moment. Just before we get to that, the things that happen in this room with them, like finally figuring out they're all in there together. It's because Beta's camera it sees all of them. It's like the only thing that sees all of them. So I just wonder, like, what would happen if like 2 of them like walked through each other? Because I think like their molecules would still like they'd be like out of phase with each other. So I think they would just like pass through.
I
But
think so.
in the camera footage, they're conveniently all standing in a different
They
place.
were.
So,
I noticed that.
but
but so
maybe
you
like
could count them.
maybe whenever they like walk through that door back into the room that they're walking out of, maybe like they approach it from like a different side. Like there's 4 sides of the room, so they all kind of like approach from like a different vector, and that's why they weren't standing in the exact same spot at any point.
I thought it just sort of transported them instantly and then changed the dimension or something. I don't know. The room can do a lot, we've seen, so it doesn't seem hard for it. Maybe not.
But this is also when Spock notices his hand is cut before it actually does get cut later, and he's like sees the green blood, and he's like, "Oh, curious! I don't remember this injury."
Spock went on a bender, has all these injuries.
Oh, speaking of saying curious, though, he has a Lewis Carroll quote in here. He says, "Curiouser and curiouser,"
Yeah.
which I only know that's from Alice in Wonderland, because in Batman the Animated Series, the Mad Hatter says "curiouser and curiouser" in that.
Okay. Star Trek does love its Carol.
Yeah, well, Spock does. That's what Amanda read to him.
Yep.
But yeah, they figure out that they can all, because they can use the communicators with each other, so it's kind of fun to see them like work together to solve the puzzle. And they can fax the tablet and the ring and all that stuff. They put it in like that central thing, and then it like appears into the dimensional plane that Chapel's in. So then that's like all the pieces of the puzzle to get them in the same room. So I don't know, like some of the stuff is kind of convenient. It's like, okay, we just like put all these items together. And
The
that
thing
solves
from
the
hundreds
problem,
of
but-
light years away was the thing
Yeah.
they needed to.
I feel like
Yeah.
okay, this
That-
is
yeah.
my complaint, that it's boring. It's like it's always just convenient. Like it doesn't feel like they're having to work very hard for any of it. And it's also like very low stakes. Like I know they're all going to get out of it. And I don't know, I find that problem solving, and
Yeah, there's
I
plot
don't know,
conveniences.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
it's
plot
just-
conveniences.
I feel like I can like look away and like I can be distracted and still know exactly what's going on. Like I don't have to like stay invested in it, I guess, which is what makes me say the word boring.
But at what point did you think, oh, they're all in the same room and they're just like in like a different dimensional plane? Because that never
See, that
that never
even
seemed
bother
obvious
me.
to me.
I don't know. I didn't really care. I was like, okay, so now we're in 3 different places. I don't know. Like, I wasn't worried about them. I was like, oh, well, they'll
They're
get back
all
together
the
somehow.
wall. I can tell.
Or like, or just like kind of like the slow reveal of like, wait a minute, this isn't a temple or a palace, it's a prison. Like a lot of that
See,
stuff
and
I thought was
that
kind
didn't,
of
I
cool.
didn't, I didn't find that a surprise either. We didn't know what the building was, and so like, I was like, well, they keep saying temple and palace. It's probably not that, and like. I don't know. I just didn't feel like any of that was like a reveal to me. Like I was never like, oh, that's what it is. That's so cool. Like I was just kind of like open to just waiting for them to tell me what it's going to be. Like I didn't feel like I had to be invested to figure it out. Does that make sense? Like I knew they were just going to tell me. And so I didn't feel like I had to stick with the story very hard.
You're like, I'll just sit back and wait for this show to spoon feed it to me.
Yeah, like that's what they do. And so I felt like I just didn't feel I didn't feel like I didn't feel like drawn into that investigation, I guess.
It's also like a Dungeons and Dragons party, and they've set up a trap, and you know the solution to the trap is stuff they have. It's never stuff. Oh, we forgot to bring it. We're all dead. It's always possibly solvable, unless I'm in the party and then I'll screw it up and everyone dies. But thankfully, I'm not in that. So that's what it reminded me of too, because it was a lot of they go in the dungeon, they set off the trap, and then the things they have are the things that could solve it. So.
What seems weird to me is there's just like a bunch of different ideas that don't necessarily tie together, but I like what they end up doing with all of it. But it's like, okay, yeah, like this like trans-dimensional thing, does that really make sense with like the causality paradox that they bring up later about like where the causes happen or the effects happen before the cause? You know, like what does that have to do with like finding immortality? What does that have to do with like going through like different dimensions? Like I can get like if that, you know, can maybe like reverse like your aging or something, but like what does that have to do with like shifting between dimensions? I wasn't quite sure. It's just like, oh, these are like different things we want to play with, so we're just gonna kind of like force them all together, kind of like forcing a square peg into a round hole or whatever. But I did end up liking the result. So
There's a lot of new vocabulary in this one.
But yeah, I think they are
layered
building up
dimensional
stuff.
Space, and then like reverse causality.
They're building up something big for the end of the season.
Yeah,
but I like that it's something new. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
we got a strange new world in this episode.
We did.
I like this. I'm much more invested in this than like, oh, when are the Gorn gonna attack? You know, that we had in the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
But okay, let's step away from the depths of the ancient structure and talk about back on the ship. Gamble is up there in sick bay. They have that meeting in the lab with Pike, Sam, Scotty, and Palia talking about how the Macroon are so freaked out. They've just gone radio silent, so we got to save our landing party on our own. They have the explosive device that Palia says, oh, it's actually a containment unit, and that this energy inside might have forced its way out. And
Sam gets some good xenoanthropologist moments, I thought.
Yeah, we've gotten not a lot of Sam, but I feel like a healthy dose of Sam this season.
Yeah.
He had a pretty big role in the first couple episodes.
He holds the dog. Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna see the real Jim Kirk, not the holographic version, doing the bad Shatner impersonation last week. But whenever we get like the real Jim Kirk, maybe there will be some Kirk brother moments in that. But Palia's line in this scene when she says, "I have no scientific way of putting this, but whatever it is, it gives me the heebie-jeebies." But it's very like Guinan talking about like the Borg and things like that. But yeah, it's like this ancient old creature on our ship, Palia, is like she feels a disturbance in the Force, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she does.
I like that too. Just like you said, it's like the same as like with Guinan, but it comes so much harder whenever you know how old she is and how much she's experienced, and for her to be scared, you know.
And to say this is older than anything she's ever seen.
Yeah, she said vintage. I also wanted to bring up. Well, I'm not sure if you're ready for that, but the Gamble stuff.
Yeah, let's do Gamble and sickbay. You know, like he's when he beams up, he's like scared. It's like when he's transported in, he's like screaming. It's very like realistic actually. Like normally,
well, yeah, it must be, incredibly painful.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah,
like normally Starfleet officers don't freak out this much, but like I'm okay with it. It's like yeah, that's actually more realistic. This is how someone would react if their eyes just exploded.
or if you were a non-corporeal being thrown into a corporeal body and just killed the host.
I think when he's first beamed up, though, I think that's still Gamble a lot because he's a little different. There's like first conversations in sickbay and stuff.
I think the being is trying to assert control completely at first.
Okay,
but Taylor,
maybe not all the way there. But you never know.
What were you trying to say about Gamble and sickbay?
Oh, I wanted to bring up Mbenga's line when he's so pretentious and like says your bulbous oculi were ejected from their orbital sockets. I'm like, my God, like I just don't feel like that would make me more calm. Like,
he's a nurse. He studied anatomy.
Yeah, you're not a fellow medical professional. Yeah. So I can see that as like maybe one medical professional would like give the diagnosis to another one
in
like
tech
that.
terms.
That way. Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that was like not very helpful. Like if someone said that to me, I'd want to punch them. Like just tell me my eyes popped out.
You can see them.
And I think it was probably easier for Mbenga to be very clinical because he's freaked out. He's like
he's close to evil.
Yeah, he's like, man, like I love this kid. I love this guy. Like it's he's disturbed.
Okay,
that's part of like the tragedy of this.
Yeah. Okay, I accept this. I don't hate it as much now.
But yeah,
they can regenerate eyes.
He needs to remove himself. He needs to remove himself from like the horror of it by clinical talk, I guess. Yeah,
and he talks about like bioengineering new eyes. That's also something that Pulaski mentions in season 2 of TNG. She told Geordi that she thinks that she's able to replicate eyes and repair his optic nerves, even though Geordi had been told that was impossible before then. But yeah, so it's something that I think it'd be easier just like grow these eyes back on Gamble, who just had like fully functional eyesight and lost. Like Geordi, I think had like some genetic issues with his blindness.
Yeah,
so
behind the
yeah, so it would be a lot more of a difficult feat to restore Geordi's eyes than Gamble's eyes, but this should be kind of an easy thing according to Mbenga. And he tells Pike, like, I don't know what's wrong, but like something is stopping his eyes from growing back with the bioregeneration process. But
yeah, even Chapel like seemed unconcerned when her and La'an go back to the site. She said, "Oh yeah, they're just gonna give him some new eyes. Like we're good to continue." I was like, dang.
It's the lower decks line. It's like, oh, Doc will wave a light over it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that they were able to grow back Ortega's hand after half her hand got burnt off in the season premiere.
Yeah.
But,
it's like 2 fingers at least. And
I also I got something kind of from my wants list for this season, and Gamble's parasite brought up Rukia for the first time since creepily horrible, but we haven't heard about her since season 1 when the episode after she died or not died, transcended. I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was excited that Rukia got mentioned and that this non-corporeal being is like planting these kind of horrible horror thoughts.
Yeah. Are you sure it's not something wearing her skin?
Yeah, drank her tears, fed off her screams.
Which ties
like,
in with
jeez.
that ties in with Hellraiser, Frank, who comes up out of hell skinless. So he kills another person and wears skin the rest of the movie. And it's very disturbing.
With another Trek alumni actor,
Yep,
Andy
Andy
Robinson.
Robinson is in that.
But yeah, this is a great example of like a cosmic horror concept. Is like this ancient dark entity that will like look into your mind and figure out the most fucked up thing to tell you. Like so at this point, this is when Gamble is dead. I think when he calls Mbenga Joseph, and then it's shortly after that Mbenga is like, whoa, this is weird. You're brain dead on all the scans. It's like, okay, Gamble is gone at that point. And but I like that it's like we can't know that 100% for sure. It's still like kind of mysterious. I love all of that. I love how they handled the Vesda.
The creature tells on itself by saying, your daughter was wearing the skin. It could be a creature wearing the skin, just like I'm wearing the skin of Gamble. And
it was revealing its own MO. I have the line. Do you think that woman who came to you was really your daughter, or do you think it was something wearing her skin, something that drank her tears and fed off her screams?
Yeah, that second part is
that gives me the heaves and the jeebs, just like Pelia.
And
I think so.
I didn't piece this together till one of y'all pointed it out to me. But when Battelle comes into sickbay saying like something's wrong with my treatment, I'm having a headache. But it was actually she had become aware of
this
the
entity.
being.
Yeah. So
her Gorn brain said, "What the hell is on this ship? Like something, an ancient enemy
needs exterminating."
Her reptile brain activated. What do y'all think of the sickbay fight when Battelle and Gamble fight?
It was so unexpected for Battelle to come in and go like ninja paw wraith or something. I don't know. It reminded me of paw wraiths in Deep Space Nine, but they had like energy blasts and stuff. But this is more like kung fu paw wraiths. But wow, that was totally unexpected.
I thought some of the choreography was a little goofy, but I liked the lizard language where they're like hissing, talking at each other, and I did
weird
like
names.
Yeah, and I love seeing Marie like beat the shit out of Gamble. Like, I mean, like, not that it was Gamble, but like it was crazy. Like, it was not like you're bothering me. It was like a deep, like, instinctual, primal fight. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. And the fight is broke up when Gamble runs out the door. Pike is able to calm down Battelle long enough for Mbenga to hypospray her, knock her out. And then Gamble actually, he murders someone in the corridor, right? He killed someone in a blue shirt.
Yeah, blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got a phaser to one of the security guards' heads. And then but then this evil ass creature, he's like, I'm gonna play poor innocent ensign and just start crying in front of Dr. Mbenga. Just be like,
can you fix me?
Doctor, please fix me.
Yeah.
So it's
what's he to do but say yes.
Thing. It's like it knows how to manipulate.
Yeah.
So Gamble goes very malevolent.
Yeah.
There's that. I like that line. After Gamble surrenders, the security guard is like, "Oh, sick bay or the brig, sir?"
I think Joel said brig bay. That was funny.
I think that was Aaron. So Aaron for the live audience.
Aaron,
you got credit for it.
It reminds me of when they had Hugh and I Borg, and they had him in the brig, but they also made it a sick bay.
I'm so glad that Hugh doesn't have to deal with this evil Vesda thing. I don't want that. I don't want that sweet innocent Borg anywhere near this. Instead, he gets murdered by a jerk Romulan. But not as bad of a fate as poor innocent Ensign Gamble, in my opinion.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Gamble goes to the brig. Battelle, she has a lot easier time with her possession.
Captain's bed. Yep.
Yeah, so
He's had so many pillows.
she gets to go sleep it off in the best room on the ship instead of the worst room. So,
next to the kitchen. Yep.
I really like the Battelle Pike stuff this season. It was It didn't. I was kind of complaining about season 3 last week. So like, I think this might so far be my least favorite season. I mean, like, we're only halfway through it, so let's see. But I didn't appreciate the Battelle Pike stuff in seasons 1 or 2. But I don't know. Like now, like I like them together.
And it makes sense too, because if you're a Starfleet captain, you could just stay on the ship where they're treating you. You wouldn't have to stay at a starbase like a civilian would, because you're already a captain, exposed to danger is nothing.
Star Trek 09, Dr. McCoy was able to bring Kirk on the Enterprise because he's like, oh, he's my patient, I can bring him on the ship with me. So yeah. But as dumb as that was in that movie for some slapstick humor to appeal to the mainstream audience, I like the Battelle stuff this season more than that. But yeah, she talks to Pike a little bit about like what she felt about like, oh yeah, like this thing. I just felt like an overwhelming desire to exterminate. She uses the word exterminate. She says it felt old, and I felt like I needed to exterminate it.
Ancient enemies.
And
this feels so supernatural to me. Like, it's really hard because like the angels like burn out eyes and
supernatural in the TV show, or just like supernatural in general.
No, supernatural the TV show.
Okay.
I
like
watched
the angels,
half of
if you look at them, like they burn your eyes out, and there's like the demons basically are parasites, and you host them. And the angels are also kind of the same way, but they burn out the being inside them. And like there's this like ancient Leviathan stuff that the angels are fighting at this one season point, and it's like this ancient enemy battle thing between the angels and like this horrible like species. It's like non-human, right? Like not really like a being. It's like a non-corporeal kind of being too. And it's kind of this episode is bringing up a lot of memories. I haven't watched Supernatural since like 2014, but there's a lot of little things in here that remind me of it.
Borax kills Leviathans. I remember that, but
yeah.
Well, before we talk about the ending of this episode, I want to bring up the Gamble brig escape, and again showing off the evilness of the Vesta, just how like how malicious and kind of sick and twisted, and it has fun, really like being gut wrenching and twisting the knife in people, but it kills that security guard by like taunting him about like oh, how did you let your dead mom die alone? It talks to him and like in her voice, like the last thing this guy hears is his mom's voice saying I hate you for letting me die alone.
Which is the first of a couple really big exorcist things. Because the demons taunt the younger priest in The Exorcist with stuff about his mom who had died.
Well, let's talk about the ending. But on the planet, in the structure, this is Spock filling around on that table thing in the center of the room. That's when he cuts his hand, and he's like, "Okay, so I was bleeding before the injury. There's inverted causality. Effects happen before the cause." This is Taylor, your criticism of like plot conveniences. I think that really applies here. It's like, okay, Spock, that
we've moved beyond timey-wimey. It's like dimensionally Woolenshy. I don't know.
Also have a really hard time with timey-wimey stuff. Like my brain just shuts down. I'm like, you know what? This is so stupid.
You have to.
Like I struggle with it. It's so.
I love the like temporal anomaly stuff. But.
You never fully comprehend it, but you can go with it.
But it did feel convenient for this effect cause, and then of course,
but it doesn't really come up for anything else. It's
right.
It's just
trust is a two-way street. Like, come on. It's such
Not
a
if
weird.
things are reversed. It could be, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just odd. But yeah, I liked, that Chapel wasn't ride or die on that at first. Like La'an was on board. She's like, "Oh yeah, that makes total sense." And then Corby and Chapel are kind of like,
But I like that. I like that she still trusted Spock when Spock was like,
Yeah,
you might not trust me with your heart, but you'll trust me with the science, right?
with your logic. Yeah. I like that it took some convincing that she was able to believe him and trust him, but
And Corby didn't like that. Corby was
No, he
like,
didn't.
wait a minute, I don't want Spock to be right. It's like he wanted it
punched
to be
me.
like his idea. He needed to be the one to figure it out. It's not so much like I don't think it's like an arrogant thing, but like he couldn't trust someone else's scientific conclusion. Like he needed.
Yeah.
And it's like he said at the beginning, like people that are used to giving the order sometimes can't follow them, and here it's like, yeah, you're the guy, you're used to having the scientific explanation, but now you're going to have to accept someone else's conclusion.
yeah.
And like I said, like I love Lon and Chapel, like they're like them like holding hands as they take like that kind of a literal leap of faith. I guess it's a step of faith, but stepping off of the platform. Very much lifted from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but okay.
Oh, I was thinking Thelma and Louise. I haven't seen Indiana.
It's similar to that, but Last
different.
Crusade came out first, I believe, because Thelma was what, 91?
91, I think.
Last Crusade's 89, but
other thing that happens,
it's the last of the big things where he has to step onto nothingness.
The
from the lion's head.
big thing in here is that whenever they all come together, it offers them that hourglass relic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's like
and Corby
it's
almost
not
takes
like
it.
Yeah, and Chapel's like, "Don't touch that!" Like we just got back together. Like Jesus. But whenever they're leaving, she tells him that he has to leave it again. And obviously he struggles with that because, he wants to figure this. Yeah, he does pout. But I think that's another thing that I'm like, man, like you could just come back later and get
but
it.
But maybe they're setting that up. Like maybe in like the season finale, they'll be like, oh, we need to go back to that temple and like get the hourglass.
And maybe he'll get it then. Yeah. I like that plan. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like they kind of, they don't linger on it a lot. Like you almost like don't even notice it. And then it almost feels like in passing, like when she's telling Corby, like, don't take it. Like I just feel like they don't stress it as much as I thought. Like you have this big problem, all this stuff, solve this mystery, whatever, you get the thing, and they're kind of quiet about it. So I like, if they do bring it back, I think that's smart because I think it was easy to forget, but also like crucial. You know what I mean?
It's
like
they don't
set it up.
Right, they don't linger on it, but they left that hook there to come back and hook onto later.
Planted the seed.
Yeah.
Good,
so it is there for later use if that is indeed what they're doing. But okay, so the away team is good. As for on the ship, Gamble goes to the lab to, I guess, take Pelia prisoner. He wants to get her senior officer codes. Basically, they figure out what he was going for is he wanted to take control of the ship from engineering, shoot the ship phasers down at the structure to free all the other Vesda and
the things,
yeah, and then have all of his little evil cosmic entity brothers and sisters free with him to go just wreck the universe, I guess, presumably. I guess we don't really know what their end game would be, but I'm kind of like, I don't want to know. I'm like Najah. I just want to run away from them. It's like
evil entity party time is not good. Yeah.
We were talking about her being like this ancient lanthanite, and if she's like scared or freaked out by something, it it's serious. But I love when he calls her a lanthanite child. I was like, oh, that makes you sound like so ancient and evil to like call her a child. That's really saying something. And then it is heartbreaking watching Mbenga in this scene.
Yeah.
I think
And
Babs
the other
or
big
Lucia
exorcist
Moken-
thing, yeah.
Yeah, Babs
'Cause he-
plays this so
yeah.
well.
He asked the entity to come into him, which is how The Exorcist ends, because the demon happily jumps from Reagan the child into an actual priest possessed, and then he throws himself out the window. Spoilers to 50-year-old movie, but he asked for that, but the entity is like, no, he doesn't want to do that. And then of course, Pelia fires because she knows it's not.
Yeah,
Hannibal.
like she's like
Even-
no, like I am shooting first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting time with this thing.
Yeah.
But
Even
for her to be
Sam
that
said
violent,
that.
she's
out of character. Yeah,
yeah, she's
normally.
never shown, like, Sam has been a little hawkish before, like with the Gorn, you know, he got like
Yep.
murder happy
Yep.
with the Gorn. Pelia has never shown any
Aggression.
violent tendencies, yeah, any aggression at all before. So
Right.
I loved the choice of making her be the one to shoot
Yep.
him.
Because she knows.
Yeah.
And then this is another plot convenience, admittedly. This is one that stood out to me, but like that orb that broke, it conveniently can just recontain
Reattach.
the all you had to do is like,
For a second, Scotty's a really fast transporter.
if it was anyone other than Scotty, I would still be like a little quiz. I
Yeah.
was like, man, like really on the Enterprise, you shouldn't even be able to do like a site-to-site transport. That was a plot point in the original series, but he that's not what he's doing though. He just like had it locked into the buffer indefinitely. But I guess it's like they're scared. Like, why not just like beam it into a star or something? You know,
Or-
like, that's what I would
What if
do.
Wolf
they
in
get
the
a lot of
Fold
power from that?
Is in Wolf in the Fold, they beam it to just into space, right?
Yeah.
Spread out.
But I guess they were scared if they did that, it would still
Recombine.
Get loose.
be
Yeah.
mobile and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the barrier or whatever, the shield and the brig didn't phase that thing at all. So,
No. Yeah.
you know, it's very powerful. It's not going to be contained by much. I feel like even throwing it into a sun, like you don't know, like if the sun would blow it up. Like, what if because it's non-corporeal, so maybe it just like thrives on sun juice. Who knows?
I would assume that it wouldn't, but yeah, I guess anything's possible in the Star Trek universe. But the last. Well, go ahead, Joel.
I was going to say, yeah, we find out the transporter buffer is the containment unit Ghostbusters had, and so it all comes back together.
It is very Ghostbusters. It's like, oh yeah,
Yep.
we can trap the evil spirits.
As many as we
inside of-
want, we can put in there. Yeah,
Yeah, we can put them in this machine.
just don't shut off the power.
Yeah, as long as we keep it in there, then it's all good. But you know, it's eventually gonna escape.
Because Con Ed is going to shut it down because it's not licensed, and then it goes to hell.
But we get another briefing room scene at the end. They talk about, I guess one good thing that came out of this is the Macroon are less isolationist now. They're a little bit more involved with Starfleet. They work together to establish a security barrier around the site.
Which is good, because do they know what... They have to take everyone's word what happened to Najal. Poor Najal.
Yeah.
Vaporized. And or maybe they're like, oh, that sounds like Najal. Yeah, we believe you.
Well, maybe they're like, yeah, we found some Vesda stuff in there. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
what word did you say? Like, they say that, and
Yeah.
then, like, the Macroon ambassador, like,
same
runs out the
reaction.
door. It's like Pike is, like, talking to him on the phone, and he hears that, and he, like, runs out of his office and jumps out the window or something. That's how
Like
these guys
Janeway
react.
when she hears about a certain, particle. Yep.
Yeah, like, it's like a mega particle effect almost. Just immediately becomes top priority. There's that fun conversation between Beto and the officers on the Enterprise when Beto asks Captain Pike, are the Vesda evil? These Macroon people are calling them evil. Like, what do you think, Starfleet Captain? Kind of a journalistic of him, by the way, to be asking these questions. And Pike gives a very, Star Trek, Starfleet answer. It's like, well, evil is a relative term. We know, like, if he's talking to Admiral April, he'll be like, sometimes Bob, a monster is just the monster. Like, he'll talk about the Gorn, but he doesn't want to like tell like this young man that he's gonna be like, I'm gonna be like a little bit more mature and responsible in how I answer this. It's like, well, evil's a relative term, and then Pelia goes on that very melodramatic rant talking about, no, there is evil in this universe. It's a line that was in the trailer that even then kind of stood out as a little weird to me. What she's saying, like, as sure as there's matter,
The trailer
or
was
light,
weird,
there's
but this
evil.
is gold. Yeah, when they get the context.
Well, the reason why it's gold to me is she goes on like talking about how like this evil malevolent force that wants to malign and pervert and consume, and then when she's done, when she says like, "Do you want one for the camera?" It's like that made me chuckle.
Yeah.
Like this was her audition to get the interview segment in the documentary.
Yep, she's telling the truth, but she's going to 11 for Beto there.
And I like how pissy she gets when Beto's like, "No, I don't need another take. That's good." She was like, "Well, suit yourself.
That was
Your
a
loss."
game. That was a game.
But the episode ends on a very serious note with Mbenga in sickbay, sending the communication to Gamble's family, doing like that senior officer thing, which he probably had to do a lot of this in the Klingon War. Like that looked like a high casualty situation that under the cloak of war in season 2. But that last shot we get is the computer screen showing the Vesda life form, whatever. It was like some
in the
readout
buffer
on the transporter.
They've
buffer.
shown that for the daughter at one point, I think.
Yeah, well, like Mbenga is like, I'm the keep stuff in the transporter buffer guy, so he probably had like an eye on that.
Except for Patel, but
yeah, for some reason, no one ever thought to do that to Patel. Still don't have a good explanation for that. But yeah, like Mbenga is like, does that Scottish kid know what he's doing? I better like pull this up on the screen and monitor it myself, I guess. But yeah, that flash where it looks like looks like a
Changes
different language. It kind of made me think of like the Gorn language, the Gorn written language we've seen a little bit. Kind of looks like that.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's their ancient enemy.
But
like,
there's a connection somehow. Yeah, somehow
they're split from each other somehow.
Oh, they might be like a Vulcan Romulan thing.
Yeah. Maybe these are the biped Gorn, like the legit biped Diamond Eyes Gorn.
The ones with no tail.
Yeah.
The Arena Gorn.
That took me yeah.
No, I think the Vesda are much more. They're much more sinister, whatever they are. They're from another dimension, though. So I think the Gorn are always just from a planet. But yeah, I guess we don't know exactly.
But there's some
Gorn
connection
origin,
between them, but it's totally up in the air.
But any other thoughts on this episode?
It leaves on a cliffhanger. So yeah, there's stuff coming, and we know there's stuff with Patel because we saw the red laser beam thing in the trailer. That's about all we know.
And I'm suspecting final episode. I think season finale, which is
I think you're right about the Starfleet episode will be the Beto's film episode.
Yeah, and the last episode is called New Life and New Civilization, so it might be I don't know, exploring some like this Vesda.
The next episode is the
maybe.
Salot named one, so I have no idea what they're doing with that, other than Spock.
Next episode is the Salot who ate its tail, which I don't think that's the episode that's going to have Patton Oswalt as the Vulcan. I think he's going to show up in episode 8, 4.5 Vulcans.
Does make sense.
Taylor, I think it's going to be another romantic subplot that you may or may not hate, but I think Patton Oswalt as the Vulcan, he's going to fall in love with either Vulcan Uhura, Vulcan Lon, or Vulcan Chapel in that episode. And they all get turned into
some
Vulcans.
More characters,
But yeah, I think it's gonna be like, oh, this Vulcan has like the hots for one of our Enterprise characters that gets turned into a Vulcan.
It would be funny if it was Ortegas or Una.
Well, in that clip we saw for that episode, I don't think
they weren't turned.
Yeah, it's Pike, Uhura, Lon, and Chapel. They're gonna get Vulcan-fied.
Because Pelia doesn't work. She tries. But...
I don't know if Taylor ever saw that clip because she only got into Star Trek within the last 2 years, and they showed that clip 2 years ago.
Yeah, it is old. It's just like these ancient beings.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to show it to her later. It was quite everyone was just like, really? You're doing that?
Yeah, it didn't look good. I was saying, like, oh, I'm excited for Strange New World Season 3, but I hate the Gorn, so I'm not excited for their Gorn premiere episode, and I'm not excited for their Let's Turn People into Vulcan episodes, because that clip was not good.
The Gorn stuff seems better than the Vulcan thing, but we don't know what happens in that episode, so we'll see. but the clip is kind of cringy.
And the other 4 episodes we still haven't gotten, I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
So
We've seen clips from at least a few, but there might be one we've seen nothing of.
But anyways, y'all heard us talk about this episode for over an hour. You know how we think about it. We'd love to hear what you think about it. If you would like to comment on YouTube or on Spotify or sound off in the Tex-Trek Discord server or anywhere else you see me on the social medias, tell us your opinion on this. We might share it in the future. We're not going to have a Gornegg segment again this show for anyone who came in late. We're not going to do that this week.
We covered a bunch that would have been in there, I think so.
And apologies for not having the slides for the YouTube audience. But instead, we're going to catch up on some subspace transmissions that we haven't had time for the last few weeks. So, Taylor, I don't know if you want to read these or if you want me to read some of them, but I will put them up on the screen. Bear with me one moment. I'm doing things a little different than normal. Here we go. So here's some subspace transmissions we received in Discord on the first 2 episodes of the season.
Alrighty. So we have Wanda M. says, I enjoyed both episodes, but I really liked Wedding Bell Blues. I have watched it twice already. The Gorn are my least favorite aliens, so I hope they're gone. But I feel we haven't seen the last of them.
Yeah, it looks like we haven't, Wanda, but I'm with you on that.
All right, this one's long, so bear with me.
This is from Jedi Cat.
Yeah. So, oh boy. Is it hegemony or hegemony?
Hegemony. You want me to read this one? Jedi Cat says, Hegemony Part 2 was an incredible conclusion to last season's cliffhanger and well worth the long wait. Every creative was on their A game, and Anson Mount gave a standout performance. The only hiccup was the Spock Chapel story thread, but it didn't take too much away from the episode. What a thrill ride. Wedding Bell Blues was quite a change of pace, and a sheer delight. I wasn't expecting a hijinks episode so soon, but I can understand the creatives thinking that viewers might need one. Yeah, they seem to be doing, like, we'll do a serious episode, then we'll do a funny, goofy episode. I wasn't sure what to expect of Roger Corby, but I like him already. I liked the team-up between Corby and Spock, and Rhys Darby was a hoot. I always enjoy seeing the Enterprise crew during downtime, and I adored the Pike Battelle scene at the beginning. I really want to give a shout-out to the show's costume designer. Everyone was dressed so beautifully. Pike in his green tunic and dress uniform in the same episode? I almost died. I'm still not over the ending with that surprise guest appearance. I guess that's John Delancey. And the apparent confirmation of long-term beta canon. I've yet to watch it a second time, but this could well become one of my all-time favorite episodes. So, a lot of love for both those episodes there from Jedi Cat.
Very cool.
We got some subspace transmissions from for Shuttle to Kinfori on Blue Sky. This is from
Charlie Cody.
Charlie Cody. Yeah, take it away, Taylor.
Saying, loved it. It answers and also asks questions, which is just good storytelling. I especially enjoyed Mbenga's growth and his, albeit grudgingly, respect for Klingon culture, and Ortega's being in the spotlight. She's my favorite. I just hope we get some Planet of the Week episodes this year, too. Yeah,
so we got one with this episode, I'd say, with Through the Lens of Time. What is Sour Temia? Probably got that terribly wrong. But what are they saying on Blue Sky?
As it is often the case in Strange New Worlds, it's an episode that feels unfinished, not polished enough, especially in terms of dialogue and stakes, even though there are so many interesting elements. It could have become a masterpiece, but instead the captain behaves like a trainee ensign. On the other hand, what a pleasure it is to see Ortega's character getting some real development.
Okay, so interesting opinions on Shuttle to Kinfori. Someone who really liked the Ortega stuff in that episode. And then this is on Twitter. I'll read these. Joshua Reeve says, best episode of the season so far. And Arthur says, much more like it. I had problems with the first two, and I liked this one without reservation. Is the TOS classic Gorn about to make an appearance? And yeah, there's been a lot of theories that Batel might become the arena style Gorn with her transformations. I don't think they're going that direction, but I might be wrong. Maybe that is what it'll lead to. And as for last week's episode, A Space Adventure Hour, we have some comments on Facebook. Taylor, if you want to read these.
From Brandon Huber. Could have been much better. I'd rather see another Space Away Team episode adventure than one involving the holodecks. Hopefully we'll start to see more of that from episode 5 beyond again. Live long and prosper. And from Lee Jones, I was prepared not to like it, but I did. Well done. And from Robbie Harrop, I've really enjoyed how fun and heightened Strange New Worlds has been. This season has been really good so far. I forgot how much I missed the show, but I am so sick of holodeck stories and malfunctions. They're not interesting to me anymore. The episode wasn't bad. It was well made and written. The idea just wasn't for me.
And we had a couple more on Discord for last week. Deus Tech says, a fun holodeck episode mashup of Elementary Dear Data, of Elementary Dear Data and Arman Bashir that I enjoyed, even if those episodes did this better. That meta, we're talking about Star Trek, get it? Wink moment was way too much, though. I miss when Star Trek had subtlety. Oh well, everyone clearly had a ball. And yeah, Deus Tex, they did clearly have a lot of fun making that episode.
Bonk, bonk.
Jedi Cat says, I think it may have gone on a bit too meta. I think it may have gone a bit too meta, although the last Frontier parts were hilarious and Paul Wesley's Shatner was spot on, while part of me rolls my eyes at Spock being the romantic lead yet again. Another part of me loves this new pairing of him and Lon. It was an overall fun and enjoyable episode that I'll surely rewatch again and again. And Chuck says very mixed feelings about the episode. Parts I liked and other parts created more canon issues. And then Taylor, if you want to read the last subspace transmission we have, this is also for last week's episode, A Space Adventure Hour from Joshua Patton on YouTube.
Yeah, he says, respectful counterpoint, which will be elaborated in a forthcoming CBR article. As Joel says, they've done this celebration of Star Trek, and the TOS parody in this episode is not an insult. Like Taylor suggested, those scenes and the real characters are not representative of what Star Trek is, but rather what people who don't understand the series or universe, or arguably overly critical fans, think Star Trek is about. They think the show is dumb and cheap. It wasn't. They think Shatner can't act and was a self-absorbed jerk. Neither are true. They think Roddenberry was a sad sack drunk who whined about his vision. He was no pushover. They think Lucille Ball was the secret champion of Star Trek. She sold it Desilu by TOS Season 2. Even Spock's hollow doppelganger is representative of how rigid some people think the character is supposed to be. That's how La'an sees it, a dumb show made by idiots. This is why Joni/Uhura's speech was the climax of the episode. It disabuses La'an's, I don't know if I said that right, it disabuses La'an's mistaken perception, i.e. that of people not into Trek and pedantic fans.
Okay. Well, some really good comments there. I should go look up that CBR article from Joshua. But thank you, everyone, for chiming in and letting us know your opinions on these episodes. And that will do it for this week. But hopefully everything is going well for future us, for the other version of us in a different dimensional plane.
The layered, dimensional space.
Next week we'll be back to normal, but we'll be talking about the Sailot episode that I'm curious about. But But the Salot, was it the Salot who ate his tail? Is that what it is?
I believe so.
The Salot who ate its tail. So, but until then, as always, live long and prosper, y'all. And then, what do I need to do to make it play the outro video? Sorry. If I hit end recording, will it do it? I'm just going to hit end recording. You might get an outro video. Maybe you won't. Let's find out. And you will.
Subscribe to YouTube to watch the Tex-Trek podcast live or listen to us later on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Stephen Fatheree on socials at TXTrek. Thank you and take care.